Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Shraboni, and I'm a senior implementation specialist here at Nexus. I'm joined by my colleague Sam, who is the head of training and implementation. He will be walking us through a live demo of the new V5 Members Portal drag and drop editor. We're really excited about this launch. This is the second webinar in our three-part series on the new portal. And if you attended the first session or have been following some of the updates shared by our product team, then you'll already know that this is something that Nexus has been developing for a while, and we're excited to finally share it with you. If you have missed the first webinar, don't worry, it's available to watch on our YouTube channel. V5 is officially live and available for migration directly from your admin panel. As this is the first iteration of the new portal, we'd love to hear your feedback as you begin to use it. Your input will play a really important role in shaping future improvements, and we strongly encourage you to migrate to take full advantage of some of the new features available. So, just for some quick housekeeping points, the webinar length today will be 30 minutes. If you have any questions during the session, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom window. We do have moderators on hand who will be reviewing and responding throughout. In terms of the recording itself, it is recorded and we'll send it out to all registrants within 24 hours. It will also be available on YouTube shortly after. So today we are going through the drag and drop editor. We're going to ask you a quick question. So we're going to add a poll. What percentage of customers in Nexus do you think have some form of customization? Please take the next couple of minutes to answer. And at the end of the demo today, we will reveal the results. So just to give you a quick overview, what is the new editor? In the previous version of the Members Portal V4, the interface was a little bit more standardized. So any meaningful customization typically required some level of developer support or custom code edit to achieve a more advanced design. With the new V5 editor, that changes completely. So we've built on that foundation to provide a much more flexible and intuitive experience. The new drag and drop editor gives admins the control to actually shape and customize the look and feel of your members portal without needing a developer. So in this session today, Sam will go through how to customize your layout, add new content blocks, tailor the user experience to match your brand without needing any coding skills. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Sam, who will take you through the editor and show you what's possible today.
Thank you very much, Shraboni. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen to begin with and replace my chat. Okay, so bear with me. I just need to move all these Zoom controls out of the way. Okay, so we're going to split the session up into three key sections today. So to begin with, we're going to take a look at how we can actually navigate to the editor and explore the different sections of that editor interface. Then we'll take a look at exploring customization options and rich content features that we can add to the portal. And then we'll finish up by taking a look at how you can keep your portal up to date and manage multiple locations within the editor. Okay, so let's start by taking a look at how we can actually find the editor and then understand that workspace that we are going to be dealing with. So I'm just going to head over to my Nexus admin panel here. This is just a completely dummy Nexus account that we've created just for this webinar. And I'm going to head over to Settings, Website, Editor, and then we see we get the Open Editor button here. This simply just opens up that editor so that we can start making any customizations and changes that we might need to. There's a second way of actually navigating to the editor, and that's when you're logged in with an administrator account on the members portal itself. So I'm logged in here with an administrator account, so I can see within the drop-down, I get page editor and admin. Obviously, your members wouldn't see this, only your administrators would see this. As soon as I click page editor, it takes me through to that same editor that we saw from when we navigated via the admin panel. Okay, so now we're in the editor. What is it that we're looking at here? So we would refer to this as the workspace. So this is the editor workspace. And this again is split into a few different sections. So on the far left here, we have the sections list. And this sections list, it contains a list of all of the portal pages grouped by category. So for example, everything related to bookings is going to be within here. So if we opened up resource calendar, for example, we could then start making modifications to that resource calendar page. Next up, we have the blocks and outline section here. And the blocks tab is where you're going to see all content types that you can actually add to the pages. So this varies from layout options, so containers, frames, grids, and things like that, to the actual content blocks that you might want to add to the pages. So for example, adding event checkout pages where you might need to. Next up, we have the outline tab, and this shows you all current blocks within the page that you're currently looking at. So you see the home page, this just has the one block within this outline, so that's the only thing that shows. Some of the other pages are going to have a list here. We'll come back and look at this as we start building out some customization so that you can see how that structure looks within the outline. Okay, next up we have the canvas, sorry, and this is where the page is actually displayed and edited. And from here, you can also switch between tablet, mobile, and desktop views so that you can really ensure that the design is optimal for any device that your members might be viewing the portal from. And then finally, we have in this main part, we have the actions the actions panel on the right-hand side here. And this is where you're going to edit individual component properties such as showing or hiding navigation bar, adding any specific branding such as colors or hiding buttons, showing text, things like that. And this is really where you can start making those smaller, finer changes to each of those blocks that you are adding. Okay, to finish out with I guess the workspace, we have the top panel here. And these options are related to clearing, previewing, and publishing changes, really. So starting with the reset button here, the reset button will revert that current page that you're looking at to the last saved or published version. So if you've made any modifications in the past, come back, make any changes today, as long as you haven't published them, you could then reset that page to the previous published version. Whereas the delete outline button will revert that back to the Nextdoor's default version of that page. So if you've made any customizations over the history of using the editor, if you click delete outline, it reverts it back to the default version. And then the final two buttons at the top here are really important to highlight. They're ones that we've had questions over about the functionality since we've launched the portal. So let me just clear any and all questions up regarding that. So the preview and publish changes buttons are key to being able to make modifications. And the preview button allows you to add some changes, preview those changes that you're making, but very importantly, no changes will go live to the version of the portal that is live to your members and potentially visitors until you select publish changes. So that will only when you select publish changes will they go to your public version of your portal. And this also means that you're able to edit the portal over multiple sessions without publishing. So you could come in, make some changes today, go away, come back tomorrow. Those changes would be saved. And only when you select the Publish Changes button would those changes actually be visible to your live version of your portal. And the final part of our webinar series will be next Thursday, and that's going to be hosted by Leva and Olivia. I think both of them are in our moderation at the moment. And they'll be able to talk you through some migration options as well. Because another question we've had is whether you can make these modifications before actually migrating to version 5 of the portal? And the answer is yes. So if you're still on version 4 of the portal, you can come in, customize this version 5. As soon as you hit publish changes, that doesn't necessarily mean you've migrated. So you can still publish changes so that you can actually continue exploring, testing things. Only when you officially click the migrate button will your members actually be moved over to that new version of the portal. Okay, so we've taken a look at how we can navigate to the editor. We understand the workspace sections. So now let's take a look at actually exploring some customization options and some of those like rich content features that we can add here. So I'm just going to head back over to my editor here. And my top tip for when you're starting out building and adding customizations to the pages is really pay attention to the layout options here. These are what allow you to add structure to your pages. So adding containers, frames, stacks, and grids will ensure that any content that you put within inside those containers and grids falls within the nice boundaries of the site. If you put them without outside of containers, then it might mess with the boundaries of the site. For example, if I was to drop something at the bottom of here, not in a container, it might stretch to the full width of the page, might not look great, not the best design or user experience there. Okay, so let's take a look at one of the customization options that I really like. It's something that we're asked quite a lot when we're onboarding new customers to Nexodus, and that is how can I show different content to members versus contacts? So what I'm going to do here is go over to my dashboard page because I want to add or make some changes to this page. And the example that I'm going to show here is I'm going to add a layout option and use the customer type to specify that my members will see featured events while my contacts will see the membership plans. So we're really trying to drive community with our memberships, so pushing them to sign up to events, whereas for our non-members, we're pushing them to try and sign up to an actual membership. This is very simple to set up. So it's going to be a nice little example to see, but I'm sure you're going to be way more creative in terms of how you can use this customization functionality. Okay, so I'm going to start building this out. So I'm going to add my customer type at the bottom here. And then you see in the actions panel on the right-hand side here, I'm going to make this visible only for members. And then just to reiterate that, when I add these blocks in, I'm then going to add some containers just to make sure that we're following a nice structure and boundaries of the site. So you see the container cuts off here in line with the content that's above it. And then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find my featured events section. And I'm going to drag that over, drop it within that container here. So now we have our featured events nested nicely within that container, and the container is nicely nestled within that content block, which is only for my members. So now I'm going to repeat that sort of process. So customer type, and I'm going to set this to be visible only for contacts. And then I'm going to add, again, I'm going to add the container just to be sure I've got the nice structure. And then I'm going to scroll down here, and within my section here, I'm going to drop in my plans grid. So now my contacts should only see my plans, whereas my members should only see my featured events. So now I'm going to go over and I'm going to preview those changes that I've made there. So if I select preview, it's going to open that preview version of the portal. I can clearly see that I'm previewing because we have that preview section at the top here. Now this customer that I'm signed in with at the moment does not have any membership, doesn't have a plan attached to them. So if we scroll down here, we should just see the memberships section rather than the featured events. So there we see, we've got our plans section and we don't have our featured events. So this is a real nice example of how we can show different content blocks based on different types of customers that are actually viewing the portal. Okay, so that's like one of the quite a basic example there. Let me head back over to the dashboard. Of course, it's possible to add any Nexodus related content to the portal. So you can add things like your My Activity sections or your events, community stuff. But you can also really build these pages out to drive your conversion. So you can include those e-commerce related content such as product sales, booking flows, membership sign-up options, and you can customize those however you want to. And obviously, this is all included within your Nexodus subscription. We have no additional fees. It's completely commission free, all of this e-commerce related flows that we have here. Now, along with the default Nexodus content, we also have some options for some more rich content here. So if we go into our components section here, you can see that we can add image carousels, YouTube videos, newsletter signups, lots of different options here. One of the ones that I really like, and I'm going to show you now, is simply adding a small script to the page. And adding a script is going to allow us to add any JavaScript type snippets, which will then be able to allow you to embed additional functionality onto the portal. So as an example, let me just drop in my script option here. Script doesn't really matter where I'm going to drop it. Let me just drop it in the middle of the page here, and we get that script source URL. So I'm just going to copy over, and this is just a little local app that I've built. And this is just going to add a rate your experience option into the bottom left of the portal. So let me publish those changes. And because I've clicked publish changes, that is also going to have pushed live the other changes that we've made. So our plan section here, for example, I'm not in preview mode, but that is now showing. But we can also see that we get that little rate your experience widget at the bottom left here. We can just click 5 stars, submit, nice little widget there. I just built this via Claude just to, as a demo here. It doesn't really do anything other than serve some demo purposes, but you can embed any JavaScript-based widget, such as live chat options, feedback boxes, or even build out some Nextdoor-related widgets that you might want to using the API. So for instance, help desk submissions or anything related to that. Okay, so let's head back over to our admin panel, sorry, to our editor here. Just going to remove that script and refresh the page here. So now let's take a look at building some custom pages from scratch and also how we can make use of the AI builder to get us started with that. So I'm just going to select the new page option in the bottom left here. And you can see that we're presented with a few predefined templates here. So these templates just allow you to start building some structure out on that page, saves you having to drop in the components or the hero images, give you a little bit of inspiration to get started. I'm actually just going to choose blank page here and open up my block section. I'm going to show you another nice little tool that we've added here, and that is a little AI tool builder. And that is simply that we can just type in what we want within the little description box here, and it will get us started with actually adding those blocks into that page. So I just want to keep this quite simple. Again, you're going to be way more creative than I am. I'm just going to add my billing page, for example. Obviously, it's a page that we have by default within Exodus. Let me just recreate something here. So add a few blocks, one with my invoices and one with my billing details. So if I generate that, it only takes a few seconds and it starts building those out. So you see, because I didn't use any of those templates to add some structure to the page, it's not put anything within containers here. So that's why we'd always recommend when you're building these out, start trying to use some of these templates or describe that you want that content within containers when you're using the AI builder. Okay, so now we've got these options within here, we can then start playing around with them. So you can see they're really close together here. So I might go into my layout, add a separator in the middle of the page here, make it look a little bit nicer. And I can also make some tweaks directly to these small blocks that I've added here. So for example, within my invoices section here, I could choose to actually hide the filter bar. I don't want my members to be able to filter between invoices or credit notes from inside this page, for example. So I'm just going to hide that section. You can see it instantly disappears. Okay, like I say, you guys are going to be way more creative in terms of what you might build here. Just wanted to show you a small example of how you can make use of the AI builder. And I'm going to go ahead and actually publish this page. So publish those changes. But one thing that we don't have at the moment, if I go over to my members portal here, we don't see that page anywhere. It's because we haven't really decided where it's going to go yet. And that brings me on to the navigation editor. So if we take a look at the navigation editor in the bottom left of the page here, this allows us to customize the header that we have in the portal here. So bookings, store, memberships, community, bookings, store, memberships, community. So we can customize which pages and which order those pages appear within those drop-down menus. We can also add additional items and we can also add additional groups to appear. So what I'm going to do is actually just add a new custom group here. So add group, and I'm going to call it important info. Then I'm going to head over to my custom pages section at the top, and I'm going to choose instead of adding it into the bookings tab, I'm going to choose to add it into my groups. And then I'm going to just choose that new custom page that we created, call it billing info and save. And as soon as I save this, if I head back over to the portal, you can see that I get my important info and billing info drop down just below it there. One word of warning with this navigation menu, try not to add too many items, too many new groups here, because otherwise you're going to cramp that space up. We'd recommend really adding 2 or 3 additional items at the most in terms of those different groups. Otherwise, it's going to start getting a bit cramped there. All right, we're coming towards the end of the demo. Section 3 is actually the shortest section. And this is just, I'm going to touch on how you can keep your portal up to date and how you can manage multiple locations. So in terms of keeping your portal up to date, it's important to understand that if you have made any customization to any of the blocks or pages that you have within your portal, we're not going to automatically push updates to that. So if we release new functionality or changes to those blocks or pages, if you've customized them, you would have to come in and add that additional functionality yourself. It doesn't mean that you can't use it. It means that you just need to come within the section here, find that new block, and just drop it into the um, portal where you might want to place that. In terms of understanding what new functionality we might have released, you can see that from the admin panel here. So we have our recent updates section on the admin panel here. Take a look here. Whenever you see it flash up, you're going to see all the nice new updates that we are pushing. And you'll then be able to see, okay, this one's on the members portal. Let me go over and see how that looks within my editor. Preview those changes. If you want to use it, you can then go ahead and publish. Okay, so that's keeping your portal up to date. And the final thing I want to touch on is multi-location setup. So it's important to understand that each editor interface here is related to a single Nexus location, just the Nexus location that you're looking at here. So if you wanted to recreate those customizations or modifications in multiple accounts, at the moment, the only way to do that is via the Nexus API. We are working on functionality to be able to just copy those changes to any and all locations that you might be using. But for now, if you reach out to the Nexus support team at support@nexus.com, our team are going to be more than happy to help you copy those changes over. Okay, I think that's about it for the demo of the new drag and drop editor. And this is only really scratching the surface of what's possible. So we'd really encourage you to play around within your own account. And now I'm going to pass you back over to Shraboni, who will be able to give us the poll results and also kick off that Q&A for us.
Great. Thank you, Sam, for the demo today. So in terms of the poll, the results are actually 10 to 20% of you who have a customized version of the members portal. No, wait, sorry, that's my bad. 20 to 30% of you that have a customized version of the members portal. We actually expect that to increase quite a bit following the drag and drop editor release. In terms of the Q&A, let's move over to that. We have a couple of questions that have been submitted. One of them is, can you adjust the text inside each block? So you can edit the text content using language tokens in the members portal. One of the other questions that I think Sam's already answered, that's fine. Can we change which plans appear within the plans grid? Not at the moment. We'll take this feedback away and feed it back to our developer team. This one might be good for
Yeah,
you,
so
Sam.
just sorry, so another note on that. If there are different plans that you want to be visible on the portal and not visible at all, then yes, that's obviously something that we can do. But yeah, not in terms of specifying which ones will appear in different blocks at the moment, no.
This one might be a good one for you. The current V4 portal has a self-hosted version, so you can fully customize the portal. Is that available with V5 as well, Sam?
Not at the moment. It will be available in the next month or two, I think. So we're waiting for the platform to be live for a month or two, make sure it's super stable, make sure we tidy up any little things that need tidying up, really, and then we're going to make it available for self-hosting. And if you want to understand more about that and the options that will come and when it might come, please reach out to support@nexus.com and we can keep you up to date with any news on that stuff.
Another question is, if we have multiple locations, can we customize one dashboard and clone it for each location? I know Sam
Yeah.
covered this, but I think it's important to just go over it again. Please do reach out to support@nexus.com as we can help, but we are looking to have a copy button in the future. Maybe because we're short on time, maybe we'll just do this as the last one. I might give it over to you, Sam. If we are
Mm.
not interested in a customized members portal, but we want to be on the new version, is there a default configuration we will have when we move to that new version, or should we build something?
Yeah, of course, you can migrate to the default Nexus template. It's a really nice design. We're obviously very happy with that. Um, and yeah, you don't need to customize or modify anything. You have those options to make any changes that you need to. Um, you can just migrate to that new version. Okay.
Okay, brilliant. So we hope this session has given you a really good introduction to the new V5 editor and the possibilities that it opens up for your members portal. Our final webinar will be on the portable and embeddable widgets and how to actually migrate, which will be hosted by Leva and Olivia, who are both our moderators today. That's next week on Thursday. Just a quick reminder that today's session has been recorded and we'll be sending out the recording to all registrants within the next 24 hours. It will also be available on YouTube. If you have any further questions after the webinar or you'd like some additional support as you start exploring the editor, don't hesitate to just reach out to our support team and we will get in touch. So thank you everyone for your time today and we hope to catch you on our next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.